Hi everybody, it's me, Willow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're here with another fun video for all you guys, and I'm so ready for this video. I've been meaning to film it for the last couple weeks. We are already 1 week into 2025, and there's so much award stuff going on, but I really wanted to break down my personal favorite films from 2025. I thought 2025 was a really great year for film. I don't know if there was a lot of big 5-star films in my opinion. I only had a couple, but overall I thought there was a lot of fun film that came out, and even like I said, not necessarily 5-star films, but even the 3-star films I really had fun with this year. So I really wanted to break down my top 20 because I couldn't just do my top 10 if I'm being honest, because it's just so hard when I'm looking at my list here, because even my honorable mentions, we will do those first. I feel bad I couldn't squeeze them into the list. I really do think it was a great year for film. If I'm also being honest, I didn't get to every 2025 film. I did skip some that I just was not really interested in, but there was some that I have completely missed. I have not seen the 28 Years Later film. I still haven't seen Avatar: Fire and Ash, and there's quite other few that I haven't been able to see, but I would say maybe 90% of the top films from 2025 I have seen. So here are my honorable mentions. We'll start with that. I have 5 honorable mentions for films. We're starting off with The Secret Agent from Kleber Mendoza Filho. Love that film, and honestly over time I've just grown to love it even more, and I really want to watch it for a second time. I've only seen it once, and I think my second viewing is really going to grow my love for it even more. I feel like this could even move up in my 2025 list, and maybe something else will get pushed out, but based on my original watch, I only gave it 4 stars. I did think it was kind of long, but after sitting with it, I've just really grown to love it. So The Secret Agent, fantastic film. After the Hunt, which is Luca Guadagnino, is also here on my list. I was a big fan of this film. I know a lot of other people didn't really like it, but I thought it was very sophisticated filmmaking. I really did like all the performances from Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, Iowa Debris. I thought it was a fantastic film, and I just don't think people really got it, if I'm being honest. I think people are going to look back on it in a couple years and be like, why did everybody hate on it? And it was because we were talking about you. We were talking about you. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with, I don't know if fun was necessarily the right word, but I had a lot of insightful thoughts after watching that film. So I really did like After the Hunt. My next one here on my list is Twinless. This is written and directed by James Sweeney, and he also stars in the duo lead role opposite of Dylan O'Brien. Love this film. Watched it in the later half of 2025. I think I watched it in December. It was either November or December, and I'm so happy I was able to squeeze it in because it's a fantastic film. I think everybody should go watch it. It's very dark because it's dealing with grief, but it's also hilarious at the same time. Kind of reminded me of Friendship a little bit. So if you liked Friendship, I think you would enjoy Twinless. It was a great also Sundance film, so I'm so happy I was able to see it. Really, really fun film. So go watch Twinless. I have Black Bag here, which is Steven Soderbergh, one of his 2 films, or his 3 films, because I guess he kind of had the Christophers come out as well in 2025. Again, I also thought this was really sophisticated, kind of savvy, fun spy thriller. I really did love Cate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, and the rest of the ensemble in this film is really fun as well. So I had a great time with this film. I watched it at the beginning of the year. I'd love to give it a rewatch because I know there were certain parts of it that just didn't click with me, some of the storytelling. So I would like to watch it again, but from what I remember, I had lots of fun watching this near the beginning of the year, one of the first like films that I got to see in the movie theater, so really enjoyed it. And at the bottom of my honorable mentions is The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. I had so much fun seeing this movie in the theaters. It was just me and a father and a young son in this theater, and they were at the very back, and I was kind of sat more near the front, and they were laughing so hard the whole time. It just like made me have such an even more enjoyable time at the movie theater, just because they were also having such a great time. And I'm really excited for Coyote Aki that's coming out later in 2026. So I'm a big fan of the Looney Tunes franchise. I grew up with it, and I don't want to see it, get dived into the ground for tax write-off. So I want to support it, and I'm going to go support Coyote Aki that comes out later this year as well. And if you haven't seen The Day the Earth Blew Up, it's really fun, and it's also kind of heartfelt because it's kind of touching onto the Looney Tunes franchise. So definitely go check that one out. So that is the end of my honorable mentions for my movies. I managed to only keep it to 5. So let's get to my top 20. I think I'll start with number 20 to leave you guys all wondering what my top choice is. Number 20 on my top films for 2025 is the documentary Hassan in Gaza. This is directed by the Palestinian filmmaker Kamal Al-Jafri. Hopefully I pronounced his last name correctly. I saw this film at TIFF in September, and I was definitely so blown away by this film. I was speechless, if I'm being honest. I didn't really know what to expect from this film. When leading up to the festival, I decided I want to actively seek out Palestinian films and Palestinian filmmakers. So I bought a ticket for this one because somebody suggested it to me, and I was not disappointed. This is a really slow burn film, if I'm being honest, and a lot of it's a documentary. Like, sometimes you're just looking out a window for like 20 minutes of this film and not a whole lot's happening, but you're seeing actions happen in the distance, and you feel the terror of the people behind the camera. And I think that is really effective filmmaking. This film was also shot in 2001, so this was before October 7th, but you can see in this documentary that it is just the truth that the war in Palestine and also in Gaza has been happening well decades before October 7th, and it's just so visually captured in this film. And there's just a lot of different visuals, like ambulances and schools that, are no longer there today and are active targets in the country and on the Strip. And you get to see the Strip in 2001, and it's just so crazy, and you see like the coastline, and it's horrendous to be thinking about what's happening right now in the country. And I was also born in 2001, so I find it even more poignant, the fact that in 25 years so much irreparable damage has happened to Palestine, the Palestinian people, and to Gaza specifically. So if you guys haven't had the chance to see Hassan in Gaza, I would recommend you guys seek it out, because I do think it's a really powerful documentary that I feel like not a lot of people have seen, but I want people to go and watch it. So check out With Hassan in Gaza. At number 19 on my list, I have Nirvana the Band, the Show, the Movie. This is directed by Matt Johnson, and it's also co-written by Matt and his longtime webinar comedic buddy Jay McCarroll. So they had this web series in the early 2000s called Nirvana the Band, the Show. I haven't watched it, if I'm being honest, but I've been hearing so much hype about this film, and I do really like Matt Johnson. I saw him in Matt and Mara in 2024 at TIFF, and then he's also very well known for the Blackberry movie, and then he's also coming out with the A24 Anthony Bourdain movie with Dominic Sessa. I think that's coming out 2027, or maybe it's 2026, but Matt Johnson's about to flip and blow up. People are about to be like, who's Matt Johnson? And I just like to say Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie is so flippin' hilarious. I got to see it at the Forest City Film Festival after missing it at TIFF just because it was such a hot commodity at TIFF, and like I said, I haven't seen the webinar, so I wanted people to be able to, who had seen and grown up with the web series, be able to go and see the movie at TIFF, you know, in Toronto, in the moment, you know. And it's just so funny if you like have ever lived in Toronto, if you grew up in the city, all of the flippin' jokes are just so funny. The fact that they want to jump off the CN Tower and skydive into the open Sky Dome to promote their performance at the tavern is just so hilarious. So I definitely recommend Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, and everybody that I've talked about with that name, they have questioned me, and I'm like, you guys just have to go see it. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys, but yeah, that's number 19 on my list. Number 18 is Mickey 17 from Bong Joon-ho we have Naomi Aki in the film. We also have Robert Pattinson. We have Mark Ruffalo, Toni Collette. Really great film. A lot of people kind of harped on this film at the beginning of the year, but I was a really big fan of it. I really did love like the comedic edge to it. I also thought the commentary, the political nature of the film was pretty on point for our time as well. Kind of similar to After the Hunt. I feel like a lot of people kind of just pointed at it and didn't love it and didn't realize how kind of intellectual both of the screenplays are. And I feel like After the Hunt and Mickey 17 is actually kind of very comparable. Just, I feel like they were narratives that came out and the audiences weren't ready because we were just so ingrained in that moment in time. And it was like holding a mirror up to us, you know? So I really loved the sci-fi nature. I loved the creatures in the film, the very emotional moment we get between them and Robert Pattinson's two different characters, like three different characters, you know, all the different doubles he plays in that film. And at the end, I thought it was a really great film. I need to give it a rewatch because I haven't seen it from the beginning of the year, but it has stuck with me till the end of 2025 and made it on my list. So you have to know it's a good movie if it's made it on my list. At number 17, I have another documentary also about Palestine. I have Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk. This was another very moving documentary I saw at TIFF this year. Another film that I was seeking out to see. I bought a ticket for it and I was incredibly moved. I was bawling the entire film. Another film that kind of related close to me because Fatmia, who is like the lead in the film, she is a like photojournalist and was living in Gaza while this documentary was being filmed, was 24, and you know, during 2025, still right now, I was 24, and she was killed in an air raid the day after it was announced that the film would be in competition at Cannes. And since that moment, I have been very affected by that, and just thinking, you know, the life that she could have lived. And I just think, yeah, it's just so unfair. And I think her story is so beautiful in this documentary. And I'm very grateful that Septia was able to hold these conversations over the iPhone with Fatmia, because I think this is, you know, this is the reason why, you know, art is created, so we can remember and look back and look at our history. And yeah, I'm very upset that this film has also been snubbed at a lot of different I'm very emotional. It was snubbed on the short list for the Oscars, so I'm very upset, you know, that people aren't recognizing this film when I think it was, You know, it was kind of unique and creative with the medium that they had to use because the border was closed. Like, Septia could not be on the ground at the time, so she used, you know, the resources that she had, and I think made a very, very compelling documentary. So I will never forget it. So that's why it is on my top 20 list for 2025, because it was that impactful for me and I will never forget it. So yes. Next, number 15, I have Sentimental Value, Johann Trier. This also was a very impactful movie for me. I'd like to see it again. Most of these films I've only seen once, so I would really like to be able to rewatch these films because I do think they are so moving. And I just thought Sentimental Value was a very meditative film and had incredible performances from an incredible ensemble. Just everybody turned out in that film, and I thought the cinematography and the production design was just so well utilized hand in hand with the narrative, and was able to really elevate the film. And similar to The Secret Agent, I feel like over time I've really grown to love Sentimental Value even more, and I feel like I've realized a lot of different, you know, realizations after the film. So yes, Sentimental Value is number 15 on my list. Number 14, I have Caught Stealing. This is Darren Aronofsky. Again, another film that I feel like a lot of people missed and maybe didn't work for a lot of people, but I was surprised. I was surprisingly very moved by Caught Stealing. I saw it in August. It was like $5 movie weekend for the end of the summer to try and get people to see the films, and I went and saw it, and I loved every minute of it. I thought Austin Butler was fantastic in that film. I loved how like fast-paced it was, but also at the same time we're kind of dealing with this trauma and grief that our character is, you know, having to deal with after all of these years, and then he's being like chased by this crime and this dream, and I really loved Caught Stealing. I really thought it was a really bold piece that came out in 2025, and I was a big fan of it. Next on my list I have is Dead Man's Wire. This is from Gus Van Sant. I saw this at TIFF, and again, another great film. Really loved this one, and I was pleasantly surprised that I thought this was so outstanding. I would say it was probably one of my top films I was able to see out of the film festival that year. I just thought it was so well directed, performed, written, and, you know, it was kind of a shorter film, but used every single moment to its fullest. And I think, again, all the performances, kind of a smaller cast, are all really well utilized, and I just really thought it was punchy and based on a true story, but so well realized and had a very, you know, kind of like unique aesthetic, not necessarily unique aesthetic, but had a very distinct aesthetic. And I don't know, I just really loved the film. I just thought it was so fancy, so like poppy, and it was a great film. I really loved Dead Man's Wire. It's coming out right now, wide in January. So I would suggest you guys go check it out because I had a lot of fun with it, and I was able to hear from Gus Van Sant afterwards, and some of also the writer. This is like the writer's first screenplay that got picked up. So definitely go watch it and support it because I had a great time with it. Number 13 on my list is Ephus. This is directed by Carson Lund. It's also produced by Tyler Tamorai. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And he did Christmas Eve at Miller's Point, which was a film that I really liked in 2024. And I gave a rewatch in 2025, and I liked it even more. Both have a very similar vibe. I believe Tyler and Carson are kind of like film buddies. They do a lot of their films together, kind of like producing and directing, you know, kind of one-offs. They kind of switch. So really did love Ephus. I heard more about it when it came out during the Cannes Film Festival, and I heard some good reviews from like the Oscar expert. So I was able to finally give it a watch, and I was very emotional while watching it. I was kind of dealing with like grief and the loss of something that hasn't occurred yet and you're just anticipating that loss. It's also like baseball, and baseball is very poignant in my family with my grandpa who's passed away. And while I was watching it, I just felt like this could have been a movie I could have put on with him, and the two of us could have really enjoyed and just kind of like taken in this film. So I really highly recommend this film. I think it's very moving, and a lot of these performances are kind of by, I believe, like non-actors or like first-time actors. So I would highly recommend Ethos if you've not given it a watch. Number 12 on my list is If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, another film I saw at the Toronto International Film Festival this year. I had been waiting for this film since the Berlin Film Festival when Rose Byrne won Best Actress, and then kind of, moved throughout a lot of the different festivals, and finally, is beginning a lot of the recognition it deserved. I just think Rose is so dynamic in that film, and I also really like A$AP Rocky in that film too, and Conan O'Brien, and I just think it's so like wild, and you're just reminds me again why I don't want kids, but I also think it reminds you why kids are beautiful, and why humans are kind of messy, and we are crazy, and we're judgmental, and we are never on time, or we just feel like we're falling apart. But I really do think this film kind of shows you all those different layers, and I don't think it really necessarily gives you a whole lot of hope at the end, but I think it kind of shows you why parents do what they do. And I think it's a really great performance, and I feel like she's not getting enough love. Jessie Buckley is, I feel like, on a sweep, and I really do love Rose Byrne, and If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, and I would give her an award if I could. So I was hoping she would get the Critics' Choice, so maybe she would get some sort of award this season, but at last Jessie Buckley was able to get it, so we'll have to wait and see. At number 11, I have Sorry Baby. I was able to see this earlier at an advanced screening with Ava Victor in attendance, and they did a little Q&A after we did the screening. And this film is also very stressful, a lot of tension. I don't think I necessarily knew everything that was going to happen in the film, so I was kind of like on the edge of my seat, and I was like, man, this girl's just been through so much. But I think it's a really beautiful and truthful story, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to it, and I think it's also a very new way to tell this type of traumatic story, and not necessarily giving a lot of weight to the trauma, focusing more on the individual and how they were going through this process, and how they were able to, grow and, not necessarily move past, but become one with this trauma, and kind of be able to become a bigger person and learn how to, have healthy boundaries. And I just think this film is just so witty and also heartbreaking. And again, another great performance from Naomi Ackie. Again, she was so fantastic in Mickey 17, and she's just a completely different type of character in Sorry Baby. So really recommend, if you've seen Mickey 17, to watch Sorry Baby, so you can just see the range that Miss Naomi Ackie has in two films that came out in 2025. But Ava Victor is also fantastic in the film, and we also have Lucas Hedges is also really great in the film, and I also think Kelly McCorman is also really great, and John Carroll Lynch, really great performances throughout the film. And I would highly recommend Sorry Baby. If you were not able to catch it in 2025, I would recommend you guys watch it in 2026, because it's a fantastic film. Alright, we made it into my top 10, and number 10, I feel like it's kind of a cheat, but I had to put it in there because I think it counts, because it's on Letterboxd, and it was streamed on CNN, but I just thought it was so powerful that I couldn't take it out. and it was Good Night and Good Luck, which was the Broadway performance, first ever Broadway performance that was live streamed for the public to watch. It was on CNN for one night back in May, I believe, and it stars George Clooney, which is him kind of taking on this role, which was his directorial debut back in 2005. So this is kind of an adaptation of his film brought to the stage, and he's in the role this time, and it was a really powerful performance. I would highly recommend you guys try and seek it out. I feel like it is out there somewhere on some of our pirating websites, but it's so well done. And even if you've seen Good Night and Good Luck, the film from 2005, this one is just so dynamic, and I'm a big theater person. I grew up in the theater, I've done it for a long time, I work in theater, so I just love the whole production of it and how the sets were so interactive and that used like some real footage from history, and they were able to mash it in with the stage presence. And George Clooney's monologue at the end, just staring us dead in the eyes down the camera lens, man, I was in tears. So Good Night and Good Luck is number 10 on my list, and if you guys haven't seen it, go seek it out, because it's definitely a performance from George Clooney that I think tops Jay Kelly from 2025. I feel like not a lot of people talked about it. So Good Night and Good Luck didn't win any Tonys either, so go seek it out because it's a really great performance, and I had to put it in here. At number 9, I have Friendship. This was one of the best films I saw in 2025. Andrew DeYoung, had never heard of him before until this film, and then he had The Chair Company come out this year as well, and he's just so fantastic. And I'm usually not one for like kind of cringy humor, but he just works so well. He kind of reminds me of Nathan Fielder in his type of comedy, and I really do love Nathan Fielder, so I'm really big fan of Friendship, and Paul Rudd is amazing in it as well. Oh my god, it's just, I will never forget those sewer scenes. Such a good film, probably the funniest film from 2025, so go check out Friendship if you've not seen it, because I just couldn't get enough of that film. At number 8, I have Hamnet from Chloe Zhao. As I was talking about Jessie Buckley just a little bit ago, she is doing so well in the awards. She just won her Critics' Choice Best Leading Actress, and we have the Golden Globes this weekend, and I do feel pretty confident that she could take that Golden Globe, but we'll see. Golden Globe sometimes is a little unpredictable with their winners. They kind of go for like random people sometimes to win, so we will see. But Hamnet, again, I'm a theater person, big Shakespeare fan, really do love Hamnet and Hamlet. I did AP English with Hamlet, and I really do love the Kenneth Branagh film, and I've seen it a couple of times performed, so I really love this new rendition of kind of learning more about William Shakespeare and Agnes and their children, and this whole story of Hamnet and how it birthed Hamlet. So really stunning performance from Jessie Buckley and also Paul Mescal, and I really also liked Emily Watson in the film too, and I feel like she's not being highlighted enough in the supporting actress running this year, when I really did like her performance. So yeah, Hamnet is a solid film. I feel like a lot of people have been able to catch it in 2025, but if you didn't, make sure you guys go watch it, because it was one of the best films from that year. Next on my list, I have It Was Just an Accident, another film that didn't do really great at the Critics' Choice, didn't get much. I don't think it got like any nominations. I think maybe it was an international film, but I think that was like the only one. It did not get screenplay, so I'm kind of worried about it for the rest of the awards, but I just thought this was such a fantastic film. I saw it at TIFF, and I was able to see it with Jafar Panahi at the beginning. He did a little introduction for the film before he had to get on his flight, but I was just so hooked and sinkered with this film. I was like, oh my goodness, what is about to happen? What choices is this group going to make? And again, similar to the documentaries that I saw earlier in this year, this is a dramatic telling, but it has a lot of truth, as it kind of comes from the personal life of the director and also a lot of people that he knows and like the stories that they've told him about the Iranian regime and things that they've gone through as political prisoners. So similar to with Hazan in Gaza and Put Your Soul in Your Hand and Walk, I was very emotionally moved by these films and believe that this is what art is for, to tell these type of stories, to tell this history, and to move us, to remind us to stand up and to make, you know, pieces of art like this so we can look back on our history and remember what the world was like. So it was just an accident. I really hope it starts to pick up a little bit more in the awards season. I was really hoping Jafar would be able to get that director win. I don't think that's possible anymore. I think Paul Thomas Anderson definitely going to take it, but yeah, it was just an accident. It was a really fantastic film, and I suggest you guys all go watch it. All right, at number 6, I have The Testament of Anne Lee from Mona Fastvoid. This is another film I saw at TIFF, and this was like kind of like a transcendent film. I really was so emotionally wrapped into the story of Anne Lee and Amanda Seyfried just really falling into this role and being so bold and audacious with the singing, with the performance, with the big movements, the sweeping, the ohms, the hums. You really, you start to feel like you need to do the yoga with them, you know, that really hypnotic breathing that you get in kind of meditative practices. You really do feel that with the Quakers in The Testament of Anne Lee. I really do love how natural lighting it used. I was able to see it on 70mm at the festival. So lucky. So that use of film and being so organic was also very notable for me, and like the different grain, and that it just felt such an organic and beautiful film. And I really did love like the costume design and the production design as well, and I thought this was a very deep and poignant story, and I kind of wish it did maybe a little bit more, so maybe it would have been a little bit higher on my list if it did that. But I thought it was a great film, and I'm sad that it's not getting a more awards buzz compared to like Brady Corbet's film last year, this, you know, Greco producing duo here with Mona and Brady. So I'm sad it's not getting as much recognition, but I really do think it's a fantastic film. All right, we made it into my top 5. Number 5 on my list is Train Dreams. I thought this was a beautiful film. It was directed by Clint Bentley, another kind of producing, directing duo, as we have Clint, you know, I believe he produced Sing Sing, and Craig Crudar, he directed Sing Sing, but he also, I believe, produced Train Dreams. So again, another one of these kind of producing director duos that I love to see, and I thought this film was very moving. I saw this at the TIFF Letterboxd in the fall time during its limited theatrical 2-week window before it went onto Netflix, and this was the way to do it. I was able to see it on 35mm at the Lightbox, and it was so worth going. I was bawling the entire film. I was not expecting that. I didn't know it was going to be that type of film. Just being so deep and poignant really tugged at my heartstrings, and I just thought it was so beautiful, the cinematography, and I was just really touched by this man and his story and just all the hardship that he has to face and the grief that he has to endure. And it was a movie that really left me shook after. I was a mess after watching that film, but in a good way. So Train Dreams is number 5 on my list. Number 4 on my list is No Other Choice from Park Chan-wook. I thought this film was so good. I was able to see it at the Forest City Film Festival in November. Love that I was able to see it early because it was so busy and popular at TIFF that I was not able to see it. But this was such a fantastic and dynamic and intense film, just so well written from the beginning to the end. I wouldn't necessarily say it's my cup of tea type of film, just because it's kind of male-centric, this like male ego type thing, but from like a directing, filmmaking, it's just so well done. So like that's why it's not, you know, number 1 on my list. It's number 4, just because there was a couple things about the film that just didn't fully work for me. But like as a subjective viewer, it was just such a like perfect film. Like it really was perfect. And I think the message is just so well communicated, and the performances from Lee Byung-hun are tremendous. He is just so like multifaceted in this role. He is so hilarious and sweet, but then also will snap and be so dark and terrifying in the next moment, and you see this man at his wit's end, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to get back to the top, and that is daunting. And I think Lee Byung-hun just kills it in this role. Song Yi-jin, sorry, probably pronounced her name correctly. She was also really good in the film. I really loved her perspective of kind of being a little bit more of a level-headed and feminine perspective in this male-driven, you know, provider perspective that Lee Byung-hun's character's in. So really do love this balancing act between these two as husband and wife, and kind of maybe left side, right side of the brain. So really love No Other Choice, and the cinematography and the editing in that film is also just so like breathtaking, and I'm just like, who is doing it like Park Chan-wook? Just nobody is making visuals like this. Like it's hard to find a director that's so dedicated to the craft, and I think the next couple directors on my list are up in there, but I'm just very, very impressed by No Other Choice that came out this year. And if you haven't seen it, you better go see it, because I do believe it's in Sun Cinemas still, so go check it out. We made it to my top 3, guys. I can't believe it. Number 3, we have Begonia from Yorgos Lanthimos, which is kind of flippin' crazy because I'm not really a Yorgos fan, but I just was so enthralled by this film. I saw it on the big screen, the way he should have flippin' done it. I just can't imagine like looking at this list and not having seen any of these on the big screen. Like, I'm just so lucky that the only one I didn't see was Ephes, and then Goodnight and Good Luck. Those are the only 2 films I didn't see on the big screen, but every other one on my list I saw at the cinema, and that's the way to flippin' do it. I loved Begonia, and I loved the aspect ratio of it, seeing it up there on the big screen. I thought Emma Stone was so transformative in this role, as well as Jesse Plemons. I also really liked Aiden in the film as well. I just thought this film was just so crazy, but just so attuned in with our times and the class divide that we're at right now, and the political nature, the conspiracy theories, just how we are so divided as a world. And I think Begonia is able to artfully craft that into a hilarious black comedy. Like, you know, you shouldn't be laughing at this, but you're laughing at it because it's just like almost too good to be true. So really love Begonia. I was able to actually get a poster from Focus Features of Begonia. I have to get it framed still, but my top 3 films, I'm so grateful for this poster because it's just so flippin' awesome. So yeah, Begonia is my number 3 film for 2025, and number 2 is One Battle After Another from Paul Thomas Anderson. I feel like you couldn't have been surprised because it hadn't been mentioned on my list yet. I feel like people would be yelling at me if I didn't have this on my list. It's number 2. It never moved from the number 2 spot ever since I saw this back in September. A really pleasant surprise. My second Paul Thomas Anderson film, because I had seen Phantom Thread before this, and again was in love with Phantom Thread. I think Phantom Thread is one of the best films ever directed and performed from Daniel Day-Lewis and also from Vicky. Just such a tremendous, like, passionate filmmaker, and I love to see that he's able to transfer his skills into kind of this epic scrolling rebel battle with one battle after another. We have Leo, we have Tiana, we have Benicio, we have Sean, we have Chase. We're going back and forth between all this ensemble. We're going from the Christmateers, the crazy white supremacist group, and we're going to the black nuns. Like, so flippin' cool, like so dynamic, so sprawling. It's a really big world adventure film, and I just want more cinema like this, you know, dedicated to building this sprawling adventure, this epic. We really just don't get films like this anymore. So One Battle After Another will definitely be a film I'm not disappointed if it takes home the best picture this year for 2026 Oscars. So yeah, One Battle After Another is such a fantastic film, and I'm so happy I saw it on IMAX. It would have been better if I was able to see it on 70mm IMAX, but I was very, very happy that I was able to see One Battle After Another, and it was able to stay number 2 on my list for my top 2025 films. Alright guys, we made it to my top film from 2025. I haven't said on my list already, so I feel like you guys probably won't be too surprised, but my number 1 film from 2025, and it never moved from the top spot since I saw it, is Sinners from Ryan Coogler. This is just such a transcendent and original and epic scrolling film. 5 out of 5 stars. No doubt from the moment I watched it. I was in tears during the I Lied scene, just that epic scene with everybody from past, present, future of music. It was such a beautiful film. I was crying at the end of the film as well. I was able to go see it on the re-release in IMAX on Halloween weekend. So worth seeing it again, and I wish I got to see it again because it was re-released for a 3rd time during Christmas, but I wasn't able to see it. But Sinners is just so fantastic. I think Michael B. Jordan is just an actor for our ages. When people talk about Timothée Chalamet, I'm like, why aren't we talking about Michael B. Jordan? Like, Michael B. Jordan has been around for such a long time. I remember just growing up with him in cinema. I remember going to see the first Creed movie, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Like, I vividly remember going to see that movie and then seeing the second one in theaters as well, and seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and it's just such a, I don't know what to say. It's just such an incredible film. And I'm just so moved by what Michael B. Jordan and Ryan Coogler have done together as a collaboration crew, and specifically Ryan just, you know, focusing on these Black stories and this Black narrative, and, you know, being original with his voice. And I think these top 4 directors, Park Chan-wook, Yorgos Lanthimos, and PTA, and then we also have Ryan Coogler, you know, all of these directors are so specific about their narrative and what type of stories they want to tell. And I think Ryan Coogler he's been doing it for a long time. Like, he's been doing this since Fruitvale Station, and, you know, building up this repertoire and just representing and not being afraid of the word no, and knowing that he deserves center stage. And I just think Sinners shows that. I think his 15-minute long video of him talking about the different aspect ratios that came out back at the beginning of the year, like, that's how you know that he knows what he's fucking talking about. Like, so yeah, Sinners is my number 1 movie of 2025. I am so excited to see its awards presence. We did get original screenplay and score, and also young performance at the Critics' Choice. And I feel like we do have a good chance for original song maybe, but I do know K-Pop Demon Hunter is holding on to that very strong. But I Lied to You is just a very transcendent song and scene in cinema, and I hope it takes the Oscar home. And I would put Michael B. Jordan above Timothée Chalamet. Honestly, Timothée Chalamet is at the bottom of my list for like the top 5 right now of top 5 performances. And I'd hold Michael B. Jordan over Timothée Chalamet, and I just think what he does with Smoke and Stack is just really fantastic. And a year of duo roles, I think Michael B. Jordan really stands out with his level of being able to make both characters so distinct. And yeah, I love Sinners. I will never stop talking about how amazing I think Sinners is. I've had so many people being like, oh, like I had this one person that I work with, he's like 22, and he was like, I heard Sinner was trash, so I didn't go see it. And I'm like, I can't deal with people like that who hear shit and they're just like, they made their mind up. And I'm like, you can't tell me you think something is trash and you haven't even seen it. And I just think that is the level of criticism that Sinners is up. I'm like, just go flip and see it. I think you will really enjoy yourself. It's, you know, it's a musical, it's a period piece, it's also like a cultural analysis, it's a vampire kind of sci-fi thriller western aspect as well. It's just so original and so bold, and that's why it's number one on my 2025 Willow Steel Wrapped. So yeah, that's number 1, and I'm really happy with my top 3, top 4, top 5. Like, I love all these movies. Like, it just was so hard shifting these around and trying to really lock in the final rankings, but I feel really confident in my list. I feel like I have a lot of the big films from the year, but I feel like I have a couple other smaller ones that maybe people didn't see, but you know, there's still very bold pieces that came out in 2025. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with my top 20 list, and I'm so happy that I shared it with you guys. Thanks everybody for clicking on my video and watching my top 2025 films. I just love movies so much, and I'm happy that I was finally able to get around to record and edit and post this video, because it really does mean a lot to me, being able to watch so many movies and kind of curate a list for other people to think of 2025 and that year of cinema as a whole, and what are my top 20 films that I liked. I saw 184 new 2025 releases, and to crack that down to a top 20, it's a lot of work. So I hope you guys appreciate this. I hope you guys also liked my 5 honorable mentions, because I feel like those are also 5 really great films that I would suggest you guys watch. So you guys can see all of my in-depth review for these on Letterboxd, so go give me a follow on Letterboxd at Willow D Steele. I post there like basically every single day, because I usually try and watch 1 film a day, and you can find all of these reviews under my list for 2025 ranked. Go check it out. I'll also have it linked down below, just so it's a little bit easier for you guys to access. While you guys are on that social media platform, check me out on TikTok, on Instagram, and also on the Awards Expert app. I'm on all these platforms at Willow D Steele, so it makes it really easy for you guys to find me. Thank you guys so much for supporting me on my social media platforms, and also here on YouTube by liking and commenting, also subscribing, hit the post notification button. All of these engagements really helped my channel to grow, pushes me out into the algorithm to help me meet other like-minded cinema folks. So thank you guys so much for supporting. 2026, my goal is to really get dedicated on all of my social media platforms and really make this a priority, and try and, you know, be here more often and put out my passion and create this community with all of you guys. So thank you so much for supporting me in the last half of 2025, and I'm really excited for what 2026 is going to bring. So please hit the subscribe button, post notification button, so you don't miss out on everything that's going to be coming out. It's going to be really busy on my channel for the next couple of months, because we are in the heat of award season, and I do post film reviews regularly for all of you guys, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. So thank you so much for watching my top films for 2025. Let me know if I missed any that you guys loved in 2025. I'd love to hear your guys' suggestions down below. Let me know if you guys enjoyed my top 20 and my 5 honorable mentions. I'm going to have a TV top 20 as well, so check out for that video. If you guys are subscribed and you have the post notifications on, you guys will get notified right away when that's uploaded. So thank you guys for the support all throughout 2025 and into the new year 2026. Thank you guys for just making me just feel so warm on this platform. So yeah, until the next time we see each other, keep getting lost in film. Bye.